Okay, we are streams, and then let me turn on the recording as our backup. Okay.
All right. With that, we will get the meeting underway. Welcome, everyone, and Happy New Year. Absolutely nothing of importance has happened since we last met in October. So I do want to welcome our members, our new alternates. I don't see anyone who is a guest, with the exception of our speaker. So we will hear from him momentarily. We want to pull up the land acknowledgement, Tom, and if you would be so kind as to deliver it.
Mhm. I gotta rearrange something. There we go. Okay. All right. So land acknowledgement. We pause to acknowledge that the Solano Democratic Central Committee of the Democratic Party sits on the land of the Miwok and the Patwin people. We remember their continued connection to this region and give thanks to them for allowing us to live, work, learn, and pray in their traditional homeland. We offer our respect to their elders and the Miwok and Patwin people of the past and present. Okay. Can you hear me? Why can I hear you?
Yes.
Ron, are you
Okay.
speaking?
So it's Dawn that's on mute.
Yeah, it's Don that's on mute.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
on mute. So if you,
did you hear me do the land acknowledgement?
yes, I did. And
Okay,
if you go ahead and pull up the oath,
sure thing.
we do have a couple of people who need to be sworn in.
Sworn in or sworn out?
No, first they get sworn in.
Okay.
Okay, I know Christina Gilpin Hayes has been sworn in as an alternate, and I think we'll go ahead and ask Cassandra James to take the oath because I think there was a lapse when she technically wasn't an alternate. So we'll have you both repeat after me. I state your name. You solemnly swear or affirm.
At the same time?
Sure.
Okay. I, Christina Gilpin Hayes, do solemnly swear or affirm. Do you want me to just read it and keep going, or am I repeating after you?
Uh,
I can read
I
it, it's
can-
fine. I just
I
following
can go ahead
instructions.
and, that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter,
that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter,
and during such time as I hold the office of Central Committee Alternate.
and during such time as I hold the office of Central Committee Alternate.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
You're now as official as we get. So moving on, approval of minutes and agenda. I believe both the October and December minutes have been sent out. So does anyone have any additions, corrections, or deletions? If so, please raise your hand. Your virtual hand, that is. Seeing no hands, I'll entertain a motion to approve the October minutes.
I move to approve the October minutes.
I'll second, Carrie.
Okay. Is there any objection? Hearing none, October minutes are approved by acclamation. I'll entertain a motion for the December minutes.
I move to accept the December minutes. This is John McDougal's.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any objection? Hearing and seeing none, minutes are approved by acclamation. Moving on to the agenda for tonight, we do have one request to add under business discussion of communications in the 2024 election. So I'd like to add that after the authorization of the legislation committee. And with that addition, does anyone have any other additions, deletions, or corrections they wish to make at this time?
Don, I will have a request to make during my report
Okay.
for expenditure for Zoom.
All right. And we'll take that at that time. With those notices, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
This is Lynette. I move to approve the agenda as amended.
And this is Gianna.
Paula,
Second.
Okay.
Go ahead, Paula. You got it.
All right. All those in favor, well, all those in favor say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Looks like we're all good.
Excuse me, who seconded that again?
I heard many people, but I think the credit went to
Paula.
Paula.
Paula Bauer. Okay, thanks.
Okay, moving on. We have a guest speaker with us this evening to help discuss all that has transpired in the last 3 months, as well as what's coming up within the next month, which is our elections for the ADEM for the 2025-26 cycle. Region 3 Director Jeff Goodson. Hopefully you all are signed up on his email list and getting his missives regularly. If not, I'm sure he'll drop his contact information in the chat so that you can sign up this evening. And with that, Jeff, take it away.
All right. Actually, I'm going to do a quick side note to the conversation earlier. In order to open WordPress in Word, you would need to convert it. Easiest way that I know of is to download LibreOffice, Libre Office. It's free. You can open up WordPress, save as Word, and now you can open up in Word. Anyway, that's just a quick side note for those of you that are having that conversation earlier. So, like Dawn said, nothing of consequence. Yeah. I chose not to watch the inauguration. I can't stand listening to him in long periods of time. It just amazes me that people think that he's brilliant. Anyway, we have a lot of work ahead of us. we need to be very careful of what's going on with our immigrant community, especially right now. All of the executive orders that have been signed, every single one of them seems to be worse than the one before. And it's all about hurting people that are not straight and white. It and it we need to make sure that over the next 2 to 4 years we are focused on standing on our principles, that we re-engage people. That is one of the most important things that we have to do as Democrats. We need to re-engage people. We need to make sure that people feel that we represent them. On a personal note on that, I appointed somebody as my alternate to the Contra Costa Central Committee. And I got a note from her 2 days ago saying that she's decided to leave the Democratic Party because she was bullied for her opinion on some things. And that we shouldn't be doing that. That is, we do not help ourselves by telling other Democrats they are wrong. It is something for us to have a conversation about how to have a good and decent debate. I think that that is something that we need to have a better understanding of, and within our Democratic Party circles. Because right now, people are hurting. And as a result, I think that people have a tendency to say things in a mean or vicious way, sometimes when they are acting out because they are themselves hurting. And I think that that's also important to understand, is that when somebody says something that seems harmful, just understand that, they're hurting like we are, that this just understanding that we are in difficult times. So within the party, there are a number of things, of course. The ADEMs are coming up. Dawn, when are you electing or selecting your Central Committee delegates, or is that something that you've already done?
We've already did that in December.
Okay. So your ADEMs are coming up, and if you have not yet registered, I'll make sure that that's also dropped in chat. Registration for voting for ADEMs. There's 2 different methods that you can do to vote for ADEMs this coming cycle. One method is to vote online. And quite honestly, that is probably the easiest way to do it. You're going to get some information in the mail, and that's just how to sign into the Election Buddy app, which is just a web page. You sign in, cast your ballot, and it tracks the information quite easily. And you can do it from anywhere. You can do it from your phone. You can do it from a laptop, a tablet, wherever. If you missed that deadline, the deadline, by the way, has been extended due to the wildfires in Southern California. So that gives us an opportunity to get more people involved in voting electronically. The deadline is now January 31st instead of the 24th. So instead of this Friday, next Friday is the deadline to register to vote online. If you have registered, excuse me, if you have registered to vote online by this Friday, then you'll get your credentials. The credentials will start mailing out next Friday. If for some reason you or someone that you know has registered in between, so over the next week, the credentials will be going out slowly after they've verified your registration and get the information set up for you. The actual election is February 20th and 21st. Is that right? I think that's the right weekend. So you can actually, if you miss that deadline to vote online, you can register to vote in person. And so that also means that if you come across somebody, you're like, hey, want to get involved, here's a way to get involved, let's vote for our ADEMs, you can bring them to the polls. Even if you've already voted, go with them, bring them to the poll. We're going to have some polling locations relatively nearby. So we're going to be at the CTA headquarters. That's one of them. And then we'll have another one up in Davis. Those will be the closest ones to you. Some of you will also have one in Contra Costa. The rules are kind of different this time, so it's not one per assembly district. It's kind of strange how they set it up this time. They try to make it easier on the most of the regional directors. Our region is so large, it's just not possible to make it simple for everyone, unfortunately. So that's the assembly district, and I hope that everybody understands what ADEMs are. If anybody doesn't understand the ADEMs, please let me know. It's the it's the people that are going to be delegates to the state convention. State convention, obviously, we're coming into our reorganization in May. So we're going to be electing all of our officers. So that's the chair, the two vice chairs, the secretary, and the controller. I have not heard about anyone running, with the exception of, I believe that, well, I'm sorry, I have heard of two people potentially running for chair who have not publicly announced yet. And the person, David Campos, I believe, is running again for vice chair. But I don't know how where everyone else is standing at the moment. Regional directors are also up for re-election. I do plan to stand up for re-election, but I'm only saying that just to there would be a question. I'm not trying to have an election speech here. So and then shortly after, we're after the convention under the new leadership, they're going to be selecting members who are delegates to be members of committees. So just keep in mind that you're going to be applying for committees shortly after convention, and you're going to want to have your application in soon, shortly after. Before that, before convention, we are also going to start collecting information from clubs. So believe it or not, it's that time again, clubs submitting their information to the state party. And that's in order to participate in our pre-endorsement process. So that is going to be in early May, I believe, according to the schedule, it'll be early May. And then we're going to, we'll start validating that information in June, July, and then we'll be able to move forward with the information there. Now, I know that my job is pretty much, there's a lot of process here. Lynette can tell you it's just process. There's a lot of things that you have to do to keep up with the state party. And my job is really to help you all stay compliant in different ways and to understand what's going on with the state party and to get involved. I heard from a friend of mine who he was in Contra Costa. He moved, I'm not going to say which county at the moment because of what I'm going to say about it. He's been sending me messages that he feels that the state party has abandoned his county. And part of that is the county party. Part of it is regional leadership. We have to be involved. We have to make sure that people we listen to the community and what's going on, and we need to not just the regional directors. It's listening to the Democrats out there, and the fact that we've got this strong Democrat who feels that the party has abandoned him in California, and his county is majority Democrat. So, you know, we do have a lot of work. And I think that perhaps there might, I haven't contacted that chair. It's not in my region. But I think it's possible that, they're feeling the impacts of the election. And so one of the things that I do want to do over the next year or two, one is it's a minor thing. It's just FYI, is working with the county committees on bylaws. There's all kinds of rules now with the state party. So just making sure that everybody, that we get some things into the bylaws and make sure that hopefully we can, Dawn, walk them through and get them approved for you. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing, I think, is having a number of trainings and also listening sessions. I want to start having office hours where I just open up the doors and people can drop in and just tell me what's going on. What is the issue that Democrats need to be aware of in your area? What is the problem? What is something that we need to take a look at? I'm not interested in personality spats. I'm not interested in, sometimes local issues do need to be addressed. And if we need to do that, so be it. But I really want to be able to hear from people as to what is going on. What is it that we as the Democratic Party need to be doing in our communities to listen to the voters and make sure that by the time we get to the midterms, we have to take back control of both houses in the midterms. I haven't taken a look at what the numbers look like. I'm sure somebody has, as far as what seats are up in the Senate. But it's still pretty tight. And I think that there's an opportunity for us to this last cycle, from my understanding, was one of the worst for Democrats. There were more Republicans that were sitting Republicans up for reelection in those in primarily red states. So that wasn't a great cycle for us to begin with. I'm hoping that the next one is better for us, and we've got to take back the House. We got to put Hakeem Jeffries in as the Speaker, because we have to have some type of a better bulwark against the horrific policies of the Trump administration. And that's up to us. We as Democrats, as activists, as and voters, we have to make sure that that happens. So with that, I know I've gone on for a bit, and I guess, Dawn, got a couple minutes for questions, or obviously it's been pretty wide-ranging, the conversation here, but happy to take any questions if we have time.
Yeah, we do have time for questions. But I'm going to encourage people to raise their hands, and I'll go ahead and call on you. But I'll preface it by saying a question, not a speech of your own. So, as we know, some of us are prone to do. So if you got a question for Jeff, feel free. Paula.
Oh, hi, Jeff. So I put my question in the chat, but I'll just ask. How do I get the email addresses for the candidates for ADEM so I'll send them to my club meeting?
I don't know if I believe it or not, CADM believes for some reason that the information that you supply for ADEMs is private, unless you say that you want to give your information out in your bio. What you can do, though, is just send me a note on my jeff@jeffkurtzen.com email address, and I can reach out to the candidates and let them know that you're interested in having some type of a forum or something. Just let me know what that looks like. I can reach out to them, and then we can make sure that that I can redirect them to you, and just let me know what your how you want to have them.
Okay, thank
Hey, Bonnie, your hand was up next.
Yeah, hi, Jeff. Thank you for being here. Just actually a question. Well, let me give you my comment question, and that is, I've been into some discussion with a colleague of mine who was at the quote new president's uh, um, whatever the ball, the inauguration ball, and he's somebody that I have a great respect for. I've known for a long time, and I reached out to him and I said, with great sadness, I'm really shocked that this is the way you've gone. And what he talked about, his wife is from China, he is from an Eastern Bloc country, and they were talking about this whole concept of socialism, and so forth. And how has there been any discussion about? I mean, we've framed it as losing democracy. I think we have to address, and that we would have an autocracy in this case, but it's like we have to shift that narrative of these people who come from those kind of countries look at us and think we are the social, we are the autocracy. And anyway, just has there any discussion about that, and just kind of spinning the conversation to address that issue? That's number one. And number two is, you mentioned that the assembly districts, the voting. So there's not going to be anything in Solano County. I just want to clarify that. So it's only in Contra Costa and Yolo, or did I just miss that? Maybe I misunderstood.
It's in Fairfield.
Okay, so there is one in Solano
Technically,
County. Okay, thank you for clarifying that, because
Yes.
I didn't hear that. But yeah, so just the whole concept of these people like from Cuba, or the Eastern Bloc countries, or the China, who are thinking that
Hey.
we quote are socialists. Yeah.
So as far as the location, the CTA headquarters, again, there's probably some of your members that know that location much better than I do, but it's basically at the corner where 680 is or the Contra Costa, and you can either take a left to go to Contra Costa or go straight ahead to go to San Francisco. It's right there off the freeway near. So it's at that intersection. So it's not really in Fairfield. It's just outside. But that information, I can get that out to you guys fairly soon. As far as the socialism, I don't think that. I think that that's one of the things that a number of people, I've had conversations with people about, what is the messaging? How do we counter some of the messaging? And you get so many smart people with so many different opinions. And it becomes very complicated, I think, in a number of different ways. I think that we need to have talking points that, I keep in mind that when the press secretary for the president, when she came out, she always had a big book. And, she would, when somebody would start mentioning something, she would start flipping to the talking points for that particular issue. We need to be as prepared. We need to have talking points on a number of these different topics. And we need to be able to have good conversations and counter the claims that are made that are just insane. The whole idea of us being socialists, that, yeah, there are a number of things that you could potentially call socialism, but it's for the benefit of the community, our roads, our schools, you know, fire departments. Those are the common ones that we bring up. But we need to be able to have those conversations. We need to be able to bring that up and discuss why that's important. But then, you know, when that also goes to what I was talking about earlier about having conversations with people about issues. I'm not great at it, and it's something that I need to get better at. There's I'm starting to lose my train of thought there. But we need to have better conversations. We need to be able to speak to those issues. And, you know, I was trying to get back and I'm not getting it. But we do need to have those conversations. We need to be able to respond and have better answers. I don't think that anybody at the state level is going to unfortunately, they don't come down and say, all right, here's our talking points on these issues. Unfortunately, they like to give it to contractors, let the contractors make the decisions. And it's not the way that many of us, I think, would run it. And I'm kind of giving a hint as to what I think we all need to do in May. So anyway.
Michelle, your hand's up next.
Yeah, so Jeff, kind of in terms of the people who are running for chair this time around, how do we find information on them and how can we get them to come speak to the central committee and the clubs and all that?
So I'm going to do my best to try and get information to the chairs of the county, and I need to make sure that I have updated information on club chairs as well. I grabbed some information back when I started as regional director, but obviously things have changed for a number of clubs. Not too many people have announced yet. I'll just go ahead and put it out there. The two names that I've heard come from Orange County, and both of them. And one of them is the current chair of Orange County, and her name starts with an A, and it's escaping me. She's a labor leader. And 1 second.
Jeff Ada Briseño.
Ada Briseño, thank you so much. So Ada Briseño is potentially running. I heard that she might not run. It might be somebody else from actually Northern California might run as a female labor leader. The other person that I've heard who's running is the current chair of the California Young Dems, Giovanni Chavez. And so it's going to be interesting. I want to see how things play out. We obviously need to have a lot of work to do, like I mentioned, and this is going to be an important election. We need to make sure that, you know, I honestly, I've mentioned before that I felt that our leaders were absent during the last election. I'm a regional director and I didn't even hear from people. You know, I heard from the chair during the election cycle once when he called to yell at me for something that I did. You know, and that's why. Why is it that we're only hearing from our leaders? You know, we need to have people who are engaged, who are involved, who are actually out there doing something, who are, you know, talking to voters, who are, you know, it's not just about being the person who has the brilliant strategy to hire the right contractors. It needs to be somebody that actually knows what they're doing, and that we're holding them accountable. And I hope that, like Michelle, what you're saying, that that person feels accountable because they've attended a number of central committee meetings, that they've attended a number of forums for clubs, and because by reaching out to the people, they're going to find that they're going to be held accountable to those people, and those people are going to want them to, meet them where they are, and that's what I think what we need in leadership this time around. But Michelle, I'll make sure I've made a note of it, that I just need to make sure that club chairs and county chairs get that information when I get it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Right, and I don't see any other hands up currently, Jeff, so thank you for coming and giving us some food for thought as well. So, now Mike
Michael
Silva
did,
has his
yeah.
hand up.
Yeah, just a quick question. So, I'm new to this side of everything. Sorry, my name is Michael Silva. Good to meet you, Jeff. I think so forgive me, but I am not one to wait. So if my leadership's ever trying to figure stuff up, I'm not hearing anything about actual action plans. I think one of the bigger struggles from a lot of folks is that there's too much talking. Talking's important. It's good to get that out. But at some point we got to develop some type of action plan and then move towards implementing those action plans. And I think, and so with all that said, I think, whether it's at an individual level, obviously it's much easier when we work at a larger scale level, or maybe even with their own respective region or district. I think, what is your thoughts on us just creating our own individual action plan within our own respective, district here or region right here?
I think it's great. We need to have people that are, one of the things that I've always, I came from Washington State. I got involved in the Democratic Party in Washington State and came down here after I got started there. And up in Washington State, it was different because we didn't have the type of makeup like the party does here. But we had precinct captains, elected precinct captains. So a person would run in every precinct to be responsible for that precinct. And that's how I got started. I started as a precinct chair. And the precinct chair was responsible for getting to know the Democrats in the precinct. And the idea there is it's a smaller group, and you're able to then reach out to people. And when questions come up, they're like, hey, Jeff, I had a question about this. And it's either, this is what we're doing, this is what's going on, or hey, I can get back to you because I know somebody at the county party or somebody at the state party or my regional director has the answer, and we can get back to you on this. So that's something I think that can be really useful across the state. It's been tried in a couple of places, hasn't been very successful, but it's something that I think can be useful. That's just an idea. But, if you have an idea to take action and get out there on the ground, talking to voters, and making sure that information gets out and that we're also hearing from people. That's one of the most important things. We have a tendency to put money into, advertising or, marketing methods. That's one-way communication. We need to hear. I think that is one of the messages that we heard clearly this last time. We're not listening. Within the state party, sometimes within county party, and we're not listening to what the voters really want, and we're not getting that information and how we're responding to that. I still think that we have the best messages. I think that we have the right direction for the country. That's why I'm a Democrat. That's why I believe these things. And it's also confusing as to why others can't see it as clearly as we do. But, if you've got somebody that, or a group of people that you can develop an action plan, go do it. I honestly think that the more people we have going out there and acting, to get voters turned onto the party and get people committed to voting in the primarily, unfortunately, in the election in 26 and in 28. But we also need people to be voting in the primaries, and making sure that we have good candidates going into the general elections. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm fully in support. Happy to, if you want to run anything by me, send me a message by email. Happy to have a conversation. But we just need more people on the ground.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you taking the time to answer our questions and share with us. And no doubt we will be repeating this conversation plenty of times
Absolutely.
in the months and years to come. In fact, we'll be talking about it more later this evening. Next item I have on our agenda is our public comment. This is the period for guests to address the Central Committee. All comments are limited to 2 minutes. Additional time may not be granted, and the comment period cannot exceed 30 minutes in total. So with that said, any of our guests wish to speak at this time, please raise your hand. Okay, I'm not seeing any hands going up. So we'll move on to our treasurer's report. So we can pull up that report and then take it away, Karen.
I'll wait for the report to come up so folks can see it. I have to say good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year to those of you that I haven't seen since our last meeting. Okay, so for our January 2025 treasurer's report, starting with our federal account, our beginning balance on 12/20/2024 was $5,327.24. Our credits or incoming monies for the debate income was $40. So that's all we had coming in, which gave us a total credits of $5,367.51. We had debts or expenses with River City Business Services at $494.65, and with our storage unit for $136.99, bringing our total expenses to $638.14. Subtracting that from our beginning balance, we have a ending balance, federal ending balance of $4,735.87. Moving on to our state account with a beginning balance again in December 20th of $533.58, with incoming monies of $30 of contributions. That gives us a total balance of $563.58. Then looking at our expenses, ActBlue merchant fees, which are our bank fees, fees that ActBlue charges us for processing, $1.19, and filing fee. We had to file our state filing fees were $50. And so we had total expenses of $51.19, bringing our state ending balance to $512.39. Combining both the federal ending balance as well as the state ending balance, we have a total of $5,248.26 in our treasury. So any checks written for state and federal clubs, committees, or organizations, I would appreciate it if you could send a copy to me after sending your check to River City Business Services. And that's the treasurer's report. Any questions on that?
Okay, Lynette, I see your hands up.
Hi, good evening. What are our dues due for this year? Are they due now?
Usually, from what I understand, we usually pay them in April for the new.
For the new year?
Yeah, for the new year.
Okay,
So
perfect.
if
That
we-
that was my question. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Any more questions? Anybody have any more questions for us?
I'm not seeing any other questions at this time. All right, so thank you
Thank you.
for the report. Moving on to the other reports. Officer report starting as chair. Well, as several of us have already commented on, we are now living in the administration of the 47th president, and he got off with a bang, and we see that many of our most vulnerable and marginalized communities are already under attack. So we've got a lot of work to do there. I think we need to be, as Jeff said, we need to listen to people. I think it's fair to say that many people were not buying what the Democratic brand was selling for whatever reason. And perhaps we need to listen to the comments of why they were not supporting us. But at the same time, as I've said many times, we do not and should not compromise our values, even while we contemplate our path forward. Those who are immediately saying we should throw some members of our community under the bus, you know, at the risk of being too old to use it, I'll say, quote Ariana Grande, say thank you next to that. But we will be talking about that conversation moving forward. I do, again, want to thank all of you who donated to the various community drives over the holidays for various groups and functions. Those of you who attended events during the community and helped represent the party or your clubs. I had the good fortune of attending the victory / swearing in celebrations for both Mayor Andrea Source and Supervisor Cassandra James. And so it was good to get down to Vallejo for a change. And didn't get to make everybody's because some of them were conflicted with other events, but congratulations to all of our newly elected and re-elected Democrats who are now in office and doing good things for us. Other than that, I don't have much to say right now, so let's turn it to our Northern Vice Chair. Reneel, do you have anything you want to report?
No, I'll wait to my fundraising report.
All right. Southern Vice Chair. Anything to report?
Nothing to report. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Secretary, anything to report?
Let me make sure. I'm not sure I'm on. No, I don't.
All right. And our Information Resource Officer.
Yes, nothing to report, but we do need to make a decision on whether to renew Zoom services for the next year. It is going to be $319.80, and if they add tax, it'll be upwards of $350. I don't think they will add tax because it's a service. There's no physical goods added, but I do have a poll ready to approve that expenditure. And have it in that bracket just in case something, but what I see is that it will be $319.80. That is for a year long, and it's for two people to be on the account, the IRO, myself, and Don Lowry, so that they can operate Zoom meetings for the Democratic Party. But yeah, so we just need to approve that. We could get a motion.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve that expenditure?
I motion to.
This is Paula.
Second.
Okay.
Oh,
A
and
motion and a second. Any discussion? Make sure I'm not missing anyone's hand. Okay, no hands up, so go ahead and launch the poll.
there you go. Vote early, vote often, and vote yay. Unless you want to meet in person going forward.
For the love of God, please vote aye. I'm twisting arms.
Okay. 33. Yeah, I see. Oh, there we go. 24. 20 seconds left. 10, 9, 8, 7.
I didn't get the poll.
You'll need to figure out on your device. If you click on the ellipsis at the bottom, you'll see polls. Because you must be on a mobile phone or something, correct?
No, I'm just on a regular laptop. I'm surprised.
Yeah, everyone else is voting. They're getting the polls, so it must be hidden on your screen. If you look at, you should see polls and quizzes. Click on that, it might show up. Otherwise, put your vote in the, if you would, in the chat.
I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah. All right, 1 minute 30. We're gonna call it. Thank
All
you,
right.
Pat. And it passes with 25 votes to the affirmative.
All right. Excellent.
Thank you all.
Anything else to report, Tom?
No, that was it for right now.
Parliamentarian, anything to report?
Hi. So I don't have much to report. We review the bylaws, but it occurred to me at the crab feed meeting tonight that we should wait until after the crab feed. So sometime in mid-March, I'm going to together to start bylaw review or whatever it is that Jeff says the need for clubs. And I'll find that out by then.
Yeah. And thank you for reminding me, Paul. I forgot to mention that for whatever reason, the Rules Committee did not act on our last submission for our bylaws, even though they had 5 months to do so. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, all you can say.
So we will move on from that to our elected officials report. I believe we saw a report from Mike Thompson back in December. I have nothing from Congressman Garamendi. I saw a report from Senator Cabaldon, and a report from Supervisor Wilson mailed out. I saw the reports from Supervisor James and Supervisor Williams, and don't see Supervisor Brown with us. So I think everybody who had a report to submit has submitted it. So thank you, everyone, on that. Moving on to the clubs. I don't recall seeing a report from the Community Democratic Club this month. I don't see a representative with us tonight. If anyone has anything to comment on the community club, raise your hand. All right. Jewish Democratic Club. Again, I did not see a report. I don't see any other representatives with us. We did receive a report from the Northern Club, Progressives, Rio Vista, Sankofa Club.
I'm here.
Okay. You have a verbal report for us this evening?
Yes, I do. Good evening, everyone. Sankofa is taking January to reset, and the majority of the candidates that we supported won. And for those who didn't, we are going to take this time in between now and their next campaign to help them reshape their campaign and to offer strategies. And this is kind of an aside. This is not necessarily part of the report, but it's something that is part of the report. Where earlier Jeff had talked about people who were bullied and had left the party and so forth. And one of the things that we are going to work on within the Sankofa Club is to make people understand that all are welcomed and to welcome them. And also to really, even though we don't want to necessarily talk about micro conflicts, microaggressions, and little conflicts, those little conflicts have been the cause of people actually leaving the party. And I just want us to have 2025 within our circle, within our circle of siblings, within the Central Committee of Kindness, to be kindness and civility and to make everyone feel welcome. Thank you very much. And I submit my report. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And the sentiment is welcome. At the same time, I really recognize being politically active, we tend to have strong and passionate views on things. And sometimes our passion runs away with us and we perhaps forget our manners. So that's something we're all would be wise to remember, is to keep our, try to remember to be courteous and civil while we're defending or expressing our views. So appreciate the sentiment. Stonewall, is there a report this evening?
We'll be sitting winning.
All right. And we had a report from the United Dems submitted. Thank you all for submitting your reports in writing. I appreciate it, and I know our secretary appreciates this, especially when you get them to her a day or two ahead of the meeting, so she has time to get them out without rushing. So we just urge that. Keep up the good work. Moving on to the fundraising committee crab feed update. I know that the committee did a lot of work earlier this month, and they met tonight again. So, Vernell, you have ready to give us an update?
Yes, yes. Good evening again to some of you. We did meet this evening, and I'm going to give you an update as to where we stand. We some of the decisions included that we would this is okay, what's on the screen is the flyer or the invitation that will be going out. It includes the sponsorships. You can buy your tickets, you can bid on an auction. We're having both the an art auction as well as a regular auction and dessert auction. So there'll be 3 different types of auctions going on. We're asking the clubs to please donate to the auction as a club, whether it's a basket of wine or what have you, a trip, a weekend in a condo, whatever you have, to donate to that. We are ordering enough crab for 250 people. Thank you to council member and Dr. Sarah Chapman. She found a vendor who was much cheaper, a little cheaper than what we had originally stated, $12 a pound for crab. She found some for $10.40. So we moved our numbers up and we're ordered for 250 people, with the leeway that if we come up to 300 people, that we'll still have enough for everyone. So I hope we all get out there and try to sell these tickets or invite people and give them the flyers, a wide distribution. We to date, all elected officials should have received an email regarding this with the save the date and a letter of invite and telling them what to expect and what do we need from them. And that was a big feat there, getting all those emails out. We also, as you saw on the flyer, we've set up sponsorship on it. Now we need volunteers, and we need volunteers if we're going with 250 people for servicing. So we're asking everyone to come out and help. This is an all call out that we have some help and volunteers. Well, we have Betty Yee has already accepted to be a guest speaker. She sent in voicemail this morning to me that she was delighted to have. I have Mike Thompson, John Garamendi, Tony Thurman, Christopher Cabalden, are some of the individuals that we have requested to be a guest speaker. But we are moving forward. We framed the house. We're going inside and setting it up inside, but it's we're moving forward. We're moving forward. We need to get this flyer out, and I hope I can get the flyer out by this evening or no earlier than tomorrow morning so we can start bringing some money in because we are creating bills at the same time. So are there any questions for me? Or did I leave anything out from the committee members? Outstanding committee members, they come in with ideas along with willing to roll up their sleeves and help make this a successful event. And I want to thank them.
I see Lynette's hand is up.
Yes, Lynette.
Thank you. In the past, we've had like the Girl Scouts troop come to help. Have we considered reaching out to like an Avid or something like some group like that? And from the tips, that's what we would pay them with?
Right.
Has that come forward?
And we did say, I did mention the Girl Scouts as well as someone mentioned maybe the community college students as well. But we're looking for young people, young groups to come and help us.
Okay, that was my first question. And then I had volunteered to work with the silent auction and that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping that each club makes sure that they at least donate one basket or something that's at a high level so that we can also generate funds coming in. That was it. Thank you.
Good.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Kathy, your hand's up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Vernil, if people would like to volunteer to help out on this, should they contact you?
Send me an email and I'll send it to the chair for which
Of the
committee.
committee. Okay, and Lynette, I'm gonna be working on the auctions.
Great. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, that's all I have, Chair.
Oh, wait, Amber.
Oh, Amber has her hand up.
Okay, I can't see the hands, I'm sorry.
Hi, so I have two questions. One, can you include the information in the chat, the link, so for people who want to buy their tickets tonight? The second question that I have is who should we contact if we want to donate items for the silent auction?
If you're donating items for the silent auction, I would lead you to go to Kathy. If it's art, it's Pat Smith. How do you pronounce that middle name? Anyways, Pat Smith.
It's Tom. Tom Smith. My dentist used to think my name was cool.
Well, I mean, it's no offense. I wasn't trying to make a dig of your name, but those are the two that I would lead you to because there's 3 different auctions. Okay, so I have 2 different chairs right now.
Thank you.
One for dessert and one for the art auction. Any other comments or questions? Oh, you had another one. I'm sorry, Amber. What was your first? Oh, Tom, could you put the link? Is that possible? First of all. Oh, okay. It's in. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
And who do we contact for the dessert auction?
Mark Olson.
Oh, no, Kathy, I'm doing the dessert action.
Oh,
auction.
I'm so used to Marge doing it. Okay, thank you.
And Maggie Koch, and we have one other person who's going to be doing that too.
All right, thank you.
There's
You're
a
the
question.
chair.
I just
You're
put
the
my
chair.
email in the chat.
That's who I want to know. Okay.
There's a question in chat. Is there a vegan or vegetarian option?
Yes,
My
there is.
understanding
Yes.
is there is.
Yes, we not only
And
the pasta, we also are having steamed vegetables as well.
and the link in chat is for individual tickets. But I'll also put the link in chat for clubs to buy tickets, because if you're a club or a candidate, it's a different link, right, Karen? Karen Rogers, Karen Bryant Rogers.
Right, Tom, you're right. Do you have that one?
I
have.
do. I
Okay,
do.
great. Super. Okay.
Is that it?
Uh,
Can't see
Bonnie?
hand.
Yeah, just two comments. Vernie, and I might have missed this anyway, but so with the pasta, you're gonna have pasta, right, for the crabs?
Along with the crabs.
Yeah, right. With but I just wanted to, if you haven't already said this, just that consider a vegetarian pasta dish, right, instead of something with meat. Yeah,
Yes.
that's number one.
Definitely.
Yeah, like a marinara, because sometimes you go to those things and they're meat sauces, and then you have people who are vegetarian and so forth. And then the second thing is just something you and I think learned was if the auction items are too big or too valuable, it's harder to get bids. So maybe consider, if you've got a nice big thing, maybe consider breaking it into two smaller baskets. And maybe it might have a better chance of selling. That's all I was going to say. Thank you, Vernell.
Oh,
Thanks
yeah.
for all of your work on this.
Jeff?
Just a quick note for Neil. When I remember last time I was there, there was a misunderstanding about cash and how much cash somebody can submit. Because there's different filing requirements if you submit over $100 in cash. So I think that's something that you guys might need to just make sure that either there's a document or something that lets people know, hey, if you're doing cash, we have a limit, or if you go above that, we have to have something else. So.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Another disclaimer. Okay. Anything else? Okay.
I'm seeing no other hands.
Okay.
But I do want to thank Vernil and every member of the committee for their hard work on making sure this stays on track. They've been keeping at it while the rest of us were enjoying the holidays. So again, want to convey my gratitude for you putting in the time and the energy to make sure this comes off as we would like it to happen. So thank you. Committee meeting announcements. I just listed our other standing committees to see if any of them have scheduled their first date for the meeting date for the new year. I think bylaws, Paul has already said that she's looking at after the crab feed to gather for that. Finance or technology committees, have either of you scheduled your next meeting date yet?
Not yet, but will.
Okay. And Karen, is the finance committee scheduled anything coming up the next month or so?
In terms of what?
A committee meeting?
Oh, just working with the fundraising committee and trying to make sure that happened. But yes, that's coming up.
Okay, great.
But isn't the finance committee only whenever we are doing an audit?
No, it's supposed to be a standing committee to, also help with budgets and other such things. So, in addition to the audits preparation. Okay. Well, I just encourage As our committees schedule their time, please make sure that those meetings are properly announced to the membership so that we can let everyone know. The next item I have is authorization of our legislation committee for 2025. As you know, this is an ad hoc committee, so we reauthorize it every year until such time as we codify it as a standing committee, which requires us to actually have the time to work on our bylaws without jumping through rules committee hoops.
Don,
So
Vernil's still on Spotlight.
oh,
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't control the spotlight. So
That's not, you know.
so like to reauthorize our legislation committee for 2025. They've been doing great work the last couple of years. So with that, is there a motion to authorize the legislation committee?
I put a motion out to reauthorize it. Pat Joe Smith.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any objection? Or any discussion, rather?
Who seconded that?
I thought I heard Burchett, but
Yeah, I seconded.
Okay, thanks.
I'm not seeing any hands for discussion. So is there any objection to reauthorizing the legislation committee? If so, please raise your hand. Seeing none, the committee is authorized by acclamation. So Bonnie, will you continue to serve as chair for this year?
Sure.
All right.
If there's no objection, you're certainly welcome to discuss me in right in front of me. But yeah, if there's no objection, sure. Thank you.
And I will encourage you all to join the legislation committee and with her work. And one of you chooses to step up and become vice chair, so she can look forward to passing on the baton when she's ready. I'm sure she'll appreciate that.
That would be greatly welcomed. Even a co-chair. Thank you.
Okay, next item I have is, again, discussion of communications in the 2024 election. As you know, many of us have been talking since the election about what happened and why. And as Jeff alluded to, a lot of it was the perception that the party is not listening to many people. There's also the flip side of that is the party. Many people feel that our party leadership failed to communicate, the good things that were done under the Biden administration, and locally, we're not getting our message across. And I think there's merit in a lot of those conversations that we need to work out ways of better framing our message so that it's connecting with voters. Unfortunately, I have a close friend of mine who, as we were going to a holiday dinner, there was a news report about how good the economy was doing with the latest stock market reports and jobs report, and her response was to laugh and say, "Are you kidding?" Unfortunately, she's one of those people who lives in the other party's ecosphere and hears that message and took the message that everything was going badly, despite what's going on. And I think we had that problem of failing to share our successes effectively, and failing to reach out to people and failing to listen, as Jeff said. So there's a lot of that sort of discussion about how we open a clear dialogue with people that we need to either get to show up to the polls again for those who didn't vote in 2024, or bring back those who voted for the other side in 2024. So I want to start that conversation this evening. I know that the e-board has talked about us having a fuller discussion down the road uh, as we can free up our agenda and spend a good amount of time on that. But wanted to start that discussion this evening, and I know that Michelle was one of those who brought this forward as well. So, Michelle, if you want to kick off the discussion this evening.
Yeah, so it's actually really great because Jeff set the stage, and from what I can tell, and what you just said, everyone I've talked to is on the same page with this. The post-election blues, and kind of what do we what's to be done. And so I just got back from a week in DC, and I spent one day with a communications expert, marketing communications expert, and he basically deconstructed how you frame an argument successfully using Pete Buttigieg as his example. So there's also a lot of really hopeful things out there. Anyway, the idea is to there's all of these new things happening. People have a lot of ideas. We need to figure out what to do. We need to figure out messaging. We need to figure out transparency in the California Democratic Party. How do we influence that? We're a central committee. That's important. The clubs are getting a lot of new people that want to help. They want to join. How do we teach them? How do we encourage that? How do we have these discussions? So the idea basically is to have an ad hoc communications committee where people in the central committee who are interested can get together and talk about these issues, try to come up with some concrete actions, bring stuff back to the central committee for a larger discussion and possible action. That's it.
Yeah, I want to add to that myself too, because the idea of the ad hoc committee, Michelle and I had spoke about it. Some of the things that I've been involved in other groups that aren't Democratic clubs, but they're Democratic Democratic people, such as a Heather Cox Richardson group. And it has had about 100 members. And during the period of last year, I was able to get a lot of them activated into doing, phone banking and doing a lot of donating and doing all kinds of things. And they have a lot of ideas of what went wrong. And I'm hoping that we could also bring in the public to find out what people think. And so I agree with Michelle. I think, there's a lot that we can learn from this experience, and there's a lot of people that feel like things were missing or not said or not done well. So I think the ad hoc committee would be a good start in giving us the information we need to maybe formulate better action plans down the road that can come in front of the central committee and be voted on. So that's my thoughts on it too.
Don, you're on mute if you're talking.
Don, do you see Michael has his hand up?
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of some type of committee, as a working group to come back with some tangible suggestions. Like for me, in my opinion, I think, I've been elected six years now, and I think like there's a lot of support to get you, to that election point, but then okay, now the governing comes down, and then a lot of that support, usually most people are like fried after an election, so um, I think finding ways, really understanding number one, the folks that are there learning and dedicating and pretty much donating their time to understand the local politics, how to govern the local policies, the real issues. I think focusing on how to foster that, that leadership or support what they're trying to achieve, and then branching that out now to like looking at okay, how do we actually how do we communicate the challenges? How do we communicate a path forward? How do we communicate like literally, step-by-step strategic plans on how and when realistically things can be achieved? And and so I don't know, that's my thought on this. And I think, as well as, I mean, the goal shouldn't just be just to win an election, right? I think that's something that in my community, my neighborhood, it's not I don't want to get all into it right here, but just, you know there's an unrealistic, I think, expectation how fast government should move versus what it does move, especially when you have a bureaucracy that historically has been set up to really limit progress unless there's some type of literally urgent emergent matter. So and if you're from a Democratic Party, a lot of times you have a lot of different subset minority groups, so that so to be able to address a smaller portion of the community in itself, I think historic, like just by design in itself, creates a challenge. If there's over 50-60% of people that had an issue with something, things are going to move much more faster. So my point to all that, like, I think there needs to be a much more concerted, focused, realistic, strategic effort to address the different inequities that exist within our local communities. And yeah, I'd be happy to be a part of all that, and how we foster and develop future leaders.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. And I've written your name down so you can't get away with saying you never said that. Anybody else wish to chime in on this discussion this evening? Amber.
Hi. So I would also be willing to serve on this ad hoc committee. An important thing that Mike said, so let me not speak on what Mike said, but I think it is very important that we are in the community. We know what the community needs and how we're responding to that. I think, it's important to take that information and use that to also gauge how we are selecting who we're going to endorse for 2026, 2028, et cetera, making sure that their platforms actually match up with what the people say that they need and what they're looking for. And the second component to that is that I think it's really important that we're not only, endorsing candidates, but what are we doing after we all vote to endorse these people? What are we doing to actually make sure we're getting our candidates across the finish line? So working on campaigns this time around, 2024, the general election, versus working on a campaign in 2022 when there wasn't a president on the ballot, I saw the difference between the amount of support candidates receive during off presidential election cycles than they received in 2024. And I think it's important as the Central Committee that we are using our influence and volunteer time and all that stuff to make sure that we're helping to get our candidates across the finish line. So I don't know if it would be a part of this subcommittee or if we have like a separate ad hoc committee that's a candidate support subcommittee, but I think that's something that we should look into and I think would be really beneficial.
Thank you. Paula.
So Michelle stepped up to do this same for the United Dems, which I can see we can just basically combine them. So I assume there's no objection to possibly non-central committee members, but joining this discussion, because it's a great discussion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I think that unless the membership has any burning opposition to it, I think it is certainly worth us to not only have Central Committee members, but club members and even our allies participating in the discussion. I also want to pivot back to what the Northern Club reported out earlier in their written report that they're planning on doing a number of sort of listening sessions and informal meetups throughout their area over the course of the coming year to connect with people who are not currently coming into our space. Um, and I think it's important for us all to include that component as well. The not only the talking but the listening part of it, because I know it's easy for us, especially those of us who are more hardcore political types. We get in our zones where we're talking to fellow activists, and sometimes are missing those people who all they do care about is the price of eggs. Um, to simplify it, so what we can do to listen to people helps us frame ourselves and improve how our message is being pitched. Brigitte.
Yeah, I just wanted to step up to say I'd be happy to coordinate or co-chair with Amber and or Mike, but more specifically on a candidate support and development committee. Because if we want to have good candidates, we need to start now and we need to support them. And, it's never too early. So I'd be happy to, I know we used to have a candidate support committee. I'd be happy to coordinate with Amber on that if you'd like.
I think that's a separate conversation, and I'm going to put a pin in that, and partially because I don't want to call me selfish, but I don't want to create a committee that's entirely elected officials when you already have a lot on your plate. But let's circle back to that one as we move forward, because we do want to make sure that we have good candidates and good support for our candidates in 2026. That's also an ever-evolving conversation of how best to support our candidates and help them win. Any other discussion or volunteers for this candidate working group?
Are you talking about the candidate working group or the
The communications working group, sorry.
Well, Don, if we go ahead and set something up, then we could send out an email and people can come if they want to come. I don't think they need to commit right now, unless they want to, of course.
Right, exactly. I think I'm going to go with that. Not seeing any other hands at this time. Michelle, will you go ahead and take the lead on this?
Sure.
And organize the first committee and then first meeting of the committee, and then we'll certainly send that out to the membership and ask the rest of you who are interested to join if you have time to attend the meeting, if it works. And if you don't, please, I encourage you to communicate your thoughts with Michelle and the members of the committee. Because if you can't attend in person or over Zoom, then at least share your ideas in writing so that we can get the best of what everyone has to say. So, all right. Thank you all. Unless
Don,
there's an objection.
Sorry, Don, don't we need to make a motion to do an ad
Oh,
hoc?
I was just about to do so.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry.
Unless there's any objection to this, I think I'm going to treat Michelle's suggestion and Pat as a second. And, is there any objection to this? If so, please raise your hand. I'm going to discount Brigette's hand as being still up. Not seeing any other hands up. So unless there's an objection, we're going to say that committee is formed by acclamation.
and we're calling this the Ad Hoc Communications Committee?
Yeah, until they come up with a better name. If they so choose. All right. With that, moving on to announcements. Does anyone have any announcements? Carrie, I see your hands up.
It's an unofficial announcement, not related to my chair position, but I want to let our treasurer and our chairperson know that my outstanding expenses for our last fundraising event
are my donation to the Central Committee this year, in addition to my dues. I am horrible at logging expenses and I missed my deadline. And so I am eating the expenses for what I bought for our fundraiser. And just wanted to let Karen and Dawn know that Karen's been an excellent treasurer and trying to corral me. But right now, I feel that the Democratic Party needs everything that we have. And if it's just my, not expensing, what I bought for that event, then that's the least that I can give right now. So didn't want to put that in my chair report, just letting Karen and Dawn know in an official capacity that that's where I am right now. Don't look for any expense report.
If you would get the value of that reported to Karen as soon as possible, because I'm hoping that you're telling me that it was during our current reporting period, or the one that just ended, so it'll be timely on our report. With that, Jack, see your hand is up next.
Thank you, Don. I just quick report. I just want to just announce very proudly that as a school board member, we did swear in 3 new board members on the Fairfield Sicilian Unified School District Board. Board members Nikki Parr, Alonzo Duarte, Brichette Hunnelly, and re-swearing in Anna Patero and Helen Tilley. I'm very, very excited that now we have 3 of our 4 officers are central committee members / alternates, with Anna Patero being elected president, myself being elected vice president, and Brichette Hunnelly being elected acting clerk. So this is really exciting. I genuinely can't remember the last time that we had this amount of good Democrats in office on our board. So it's really exciting. And I think it's, especially with what was said earlier, I think it's important that we have good local Democrats. So hopefully we will see that on my board. And as always, I will continue to come central committee member and making sure we have our democratic values in local government. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Vernil, your hand's up.
Yes, on the Solano County Women and Girl Commission on Women and Girls will be having a Women and Money workshop on February the 8th from 9 to 12 p.m. at the County Event Center. This is a free event. They will be focusing on financial literacy. Just want to share. And I do have a flyer if you want to send it out.
Vernell, what day was that?
February 8th.
February 8th. And where was the location again?
At the Solano County Event Center. It's at 601 Texas Street. Here in Fairfield. So you have young women or women interested in finances, and they have some brokers and investment people coming in. So it should be pretty informative.
Yeah, if
All
you
right.
then send me the flyer about that, I'll put a little more information in the
I sure will.
things, and I can send it out to the people.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm not seeing any other hands for announcements. Just want to remind everyone, a couple of things. One, I would appreciate if you do have an item you want on the agenda and you think of it in a timely fashion, try to get it to me a week before the meeting so that we can plan the agenda accordingly and include it, and so we're getting done in a timely fashion. That it's good to add stuff if it's coming in late, but I also want to try to make sure we don't exhaust people's patience on that. Other thing, just to remind everyone, clubs or candidates who have not terminated their campaign committees, your next reporting deadline is January 31st for your year-end report. Please make sure that your reports are submitted in a timely fashion and all taken care of for that. I know some of our clubs have not always been as prompt as they would like to be, so we just want to get that reminder out there ahead of time. And of course, any of your candidates who haven't closed your accounts out yet, although you really should be doing that already, but get that taken care of as well if they're not already terminated. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion and second, I'm hoping. Was there a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor? Push the button on the poll. And we will see you at one of the many events coming up. Please buy your crab feed tickets early and often. And we'll see you next month. And thank you again, Jeff, for joining us this evening.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
who voted nay to not adjourn?
I didn't, but I was going to just for fun.
Yeah, enjoy that fun. You can stay on all you want.
Thank you, Tom. Jeff, thanks for coming, and I hope you can come often. Whatever Dawn said, frequent and often? No, something like that.
Something like that.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.